Hello and welcome back to Curious Faith. I'm Bill Wallace, I'm the host, and we're having questions and conversations for those thinking about following Jesus again. We've had so much fun with this. It's been just a great way to be able to engage in different conversations that, I think we've had some great feedback from all of you, and I know that personally, man, this has been a great time. For me, I can't wait for our conversation that we are going to have here today as well. This is one that, I'm really excited about the guests, and I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about. So, we're still in the land of quarantine. I'm going to put on my cool Star Wars mask and invite them in. Hold on just a moment as we do that, and we'll meet our guests for this evening. All right. Hello, and welcome to Curious Faith.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
us.
Yes.
I don't know if I should say us or me.
I don't know if you want to speak for...
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Me?
That's excellent.
Thanks for having me back on the show.
Very good. I know. Yes, your second timer. Yeah, please introduce yourselves if you would. Go ahead.
I'm Simone Carroll.
Excellent. Thank you, Simone. And
Hi, I'm Brandon Wilson.
hi, Brandon Wilson. And for those that are either watching, you actually get to see us live and in person. Yay! But for those that may not know, it's an all-staff reunion here.
That's
we kind of got
correct.
going on.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, reunion, I feel like I should have been here once before
That-
for it
well,
to be a reunion.
That's true.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you understand.
We
where it's
reunion
coming
from staff meeting
from
earlier
staff
this
meeting
afternoon.
that we had just a little earlier today.
Yes.
Yes, Simone and Brandon are two of the people on our staff, our amazing staff. At some point, we'll get Linda and Hannah and Sarah all in here one time. We'll do the whole thing.
Let's do it.
It'll be fun. But yeah, as part of that, a couple of things. Just because I'm kind of the boss, I really hope you're honest and not don't just say
No
things.
You know, that never
Promises.
crossed my
Yeah,
mind.
no,
so.
no, I know. No, that's cool. And two, I thought maybe just as a way for other people to get to know you both and for us to get to know each other a little bit, maybe share something that we don't know about each other yet, something that might surprise us.
Oh, right.
And I'll start since
Okay,
I
yeah,
thought of the
yeah,
question
you're
so you can
springing
think about it
it.
a little bit. I don't know. Other people I think know this that maybe watch, but I don't know that you know. Two of my toes are stuck together.
Like, naturally?
Yes.
Or that happened later?
No,
like after birth?
I was born that way, and they, I've never had it altered. One would think it would really help my swimming prowess, but it
no.
actually does nothing for me whatsoever.
It actually drags you down.
It
It's like an
does,
anchor.
and it makes it impossible to wear those cool toe socks. But
That's
other
okay.
Than that,
I have
that's a
heavy
bummer.
judgments on people that wear those cool toe socks.
Fair enough. So there you go. Probably
love
something you didn't know. I'm guessing.
That's definitely something I did not know, for
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. Anything from either of you?
We'll keep it body related.
Oh,
I have a
excellent.
scar right here in the center of my forehead.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, my parents thought it was a cool idea when I was 5 to have a cement coffee table.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brave
so,
choice.
Putting the puzzle pieces together with those few sentences,
Yeah.
my forehead met the corner of the cement coffee table.
Yeah.
And I just got like a few stitches, and that was it. And they just let me be. And that was it. We were just a rough and tumble crew. So
Did they keep the coffee table after that too?
I guess I should know the answer to that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I should, but I don't.
All right.
Excellent.
I'll stick with the theme as well.
All right.
I broke my ring finger playing softball.
From a
and-
ball, a bat, what was it?
I dove for a ball, and my
Ooh.
glove went into the ground and twisted around, and my finger came out like this,
Oh,
which,
thanks.
for those not watching, is sideways.
yeah.
You're just listening.
And I think that relates to today's topic a little bit because
Right.
I'm cursed from getting married.
Yeah, now
so-
you'll never be able to get married.
Jeez, that was good. That was really good.
Nice transition.
Well done.
Thank you.
Because that is our conversation here for today. We want to talk about, can you be single and go to church? I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I hope so because I'm doing it.
Yeah,
Same.
might be a really short conversation. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for being a part of that. Because you're both in a different spot than me, and therefore I'm really interested both in that conversation. Honestly, from a church standpoint, and even still from a society standpoint, because
Yeah, sure.
it seems to me, on the outside looking in, that's still kind of a thing. This idea that somehow being single, sets you apart, in some challenging ways. And yeah, I'm really interested in that conversation. So yeah, just from that standpoint, to begin with, do you see many single folk at church in kind of the worlds that you have run in? Am I wrong in kind of saying that it's still pretty hard to be single and be connected into a church? Or have you seen places where maybe that's worked out well?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I
No?
don't think you're wrong at all. A little bit of my background, like right now, currently, I'm a church planter. Originally, 10 years ago, we started a church and all that kind of stuff. And for other reasons, we're no longer doing that. But I have the opportunity to basically go to different places, like here.
Yeah.
And so I have the opportunity to kind of see different scenarios and settings. And being in my mid-30s and single, there's not a huge representation of myself.
Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I would say even more so for like single men in the church compared to single women in the church. But I don't know if you find that to be true yourself, but in all the places that I've seen, it doesn't seem to be overly represented.
Yeah. All right. That was my guess. That was my impression. But yeah.
Yeah.
Good to hear that. Well, not good to hear that, but good to hear that.
Good to hear that we were right.
Yeah. Yes. Love being right. But,
I don't really have much to add to that. I can agree to it. I don't know. I think I'm still pretty young, so there are quite a few maybe singles my age, I'd say. But definitely, I feel like people get married younger in the church.
yeah.
I agree with that for sure.
I think that's very true, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You can speak to that.
Right. I can, having gotten married at the age of 22.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Sarah and I were young children. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to let us get married.
It's working out all right.
I know. Well, yeah,
So
she's
far.
stuck with me now. So that's definitely it. Yeah, you're very much in that. Like, typically your demographic is often missing at church anyway. That young 20s, that young adult age already. Add into that kind of the single aspect to it. It seems to me like, that's just amplified. That if you are going to have folks in that age range, it typically might be those young married couples, right?
Yes, totally. And like coming to this church, I didn't realize fully that was like a real thing, but I've had like multiple people ask me, "Oh, are you married?" And I'm like, "No." Do I look like I'm married? And I never had thought about it much before, like because I hadn't paid attention maybe, and now I'm like, "Oh, I guess that's kind of common, isn't it?"
Is it church reflecting society? Is society doing better than that in terms of you can be single and be seen as a real person, or does society still have a stigma from that standpoint?
I would say it's probably a little bit more difficult inside the church.
Yeah.
I think there is a pressure that, and I would also kind of correlate that with shame as well. Like you're not whole or complete if you don't have a spouse. And for a long time, I believed that to be true. Because you just kind of live in it, right? Like I'm a pastor's kid, so I've been in the church my entire life.
Yeah.
And so we moved around a bunch and all that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, that hasn't happened yet. Do I want to? Absolutely. That's a very deep desire of mine. But I think the world outside the church is a lot more accepting. Not that they're like, "How could you?" Because I don't think anybody's any inside or outside the church is going like, "How could you not find a spouse yet?" It's like, well, that's not really what people are saying. But I think it's this pressure of like, what's next for you? What's next for you? What's next for you? It's like, okay, you graduated high school, so where are you going to college?
Yep.
You finished college. Now where are you going to work? You've been working for a while. You going to get married? It's like we don't know what else to ask. Almost.
Yeah.
It feels like, and so you're just like, how do I answer that question? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think that society has gotten better at it in general. And again, I think it is like the whole "you're not whole yet" from a church's perspective thing that gets it. And it's not that when people ask me and I say no, they're not like hating on me. They're just surprised. They're just like, you came out and moved here by yourself and you're working at a church and you don't like what? You're not coupled up. That's weird.
Yeah.
They just don't get how I could do it alone or something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is a hard thing, but I think, I don't know, maybe kids are getting taught to be more independent these days, society-wise. So we're getting better at that, but it's not transferring over quite yet.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah, some really good stuff there. That both of you shared. One, some encouraging stuff that hopefully they're starting to see some growth in that in other aspects of society. Really sad that doesn't happen in the church as much.
Well, I find like the church seems to be like, 15 years behind.
Yeah.
Just like in general. And so maybe that's the case here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that could very well be. What you said about shame, we've certainly seen that in the church, even from a married couples without kids standpoint too.
Or you can throw divorce in there or whatever you want.
Yeah.
That shame piece, we heap that on pretty heavy.
Yeah. We do shame really well here in the church, which I don't know actually that Jesus' messages would be really against that. That would be
really
the exact opposite, to wash that shame away. So it drives me nuts. That's something
Something doesn't add up here.
But you're right. Like again, from a church standpoint, part of my question and part of my challenge, I think, again, because of my world and being married and having kids, it is easy to see that from a perspective as a lead pastor to try and design a church, a worship service, programs that fit my family. I mean that's pretty
totally
natural for most of us. I think that is part of the challenge. I don't know, like you're saying, no one's coming out and saying, evil, how terrible. It's often, I think, my worry is that it's the subtle stuff that we do, that we design a program just expecting you to be married and have kids. And
the only other offering is the singles group.
Right.
And you're like, come on. Like, really? That's all we've got? We're going to go hang out in somebody's house and we all know that we're single? Like, the pressure just in that room alone is just titanic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow, yeah. I even found myself having to think, oh, wait, we have to gear this toward not just families when I'm creating the Advent thing or the Lent thing. I even naturally am like, oh, they're families. Like, they have kids.
Yeah.
This is all for, groups of people. They can have a game night together or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's probably not true. I'm single by myself. Why would I think that? But I'm still thinking in that way, at a church.
Yeah. Again, there's inertia for churches is huge. And we've designed so much of church life and church culture around that concept that you're going to end up in some type of, family kid environment. And therefore, you're right. Yeah, like, how on earth do we possibly do anything differently than that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I saw a stat today that only 20% of millennials are married at this point.
Wow.
And that's a shockingly low number.
Incredibly
low.
And so
if the church wants to continue to succeed in the world, we have to be thinking about that kind of stuff, because now your demographic is changing, literally.
Yes.
Like, we've got people like us and lots of others that aren't having kids as young as my parents did, or maybe as you did.
We did, yeah.
My parents were 21 when they had me.
Wow, yeah.
And thinking about being 21 or 22 and getting married and who I am now, I don't know that my marriage would have made it. I have no idea, obviously, but I don't know. That's a big concern. So I think that the church has a job to kind of look at that and say, okay, how do we move forward and how do we encompass this? Because if we don't, this could literally be one of the nails in the coffin. And that's it. And honestly, one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is to have these conversations around challenges for the church.
because I think we're finding more and more people that have some church experience, and even that it wasn't necessarily terribly negative, although that's out there. I think for many, it's just that it's not relevant. It's not at all relevant to my life. That's such an issue, and so much of that is drawn into that then, because it's designed in this way, because it's designed for a generation that I'm not, because it's designed for all these things.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess that would make sense why my generation isn't very fully represented right now, because there's not really as big of a place for us to be.
Yeah. So and then that's the cheeky question. Can you be single and go to church? Really, the question needs to be, what can the church do better in order to be fully welcoming? We could really broaden that out, but just for today, for our scope here, what can the church do better for being welcoming of those who may, be single, choosing to be single, wanting to be single, perhaps even their whole life without ever getting married?
Yeah.
Whoa!
That's insane.
Right? There's got to be someone out there that, right?
There's 7 billion people.
Yeah.
Probably one.
There's one.
May live in the other side of the world, but
oh, goodness.
well.
In case people can't read me through my mask, I'm being sarcastic, right? Like really,
right, I know.
Really, singleness is for many people just a huge blessing and an intentional choice. And how do we honor that? How do we lift that up? How do we make that part of just our community?
Do you want to take that one first?
Yes, super easy, right?
I wish I would have been prepared for this. Goodness. Do you have anything?
So this is going to be maybe a roundabout way to get to the answer of the question. Not that I have the answer to the question, but one thing I think that the church could do, and I'm going to kind of maybe parse this out a little bit, it's actually not the church as a whole, but if we could, because I think, and I don't know if you agree, but I have lots of married friends that have kids, and I have the opportunity to kind of see like into what is real life. So like I don't live on my own, and I don't live with other friends. I live with a family. Yeah. And so I have seen them grow up and change and parent and live life and figure out how relationship works and all that kind of stuff. And this is going to sound way worse than it is, but it's hard as a single person when you're watching all this go on and go like, do I want to do this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've seen so many, and my parents split when I was in high school. And so, but I've seen so many of my friends who have just, their married lives have sucked. I mean, this is really, really hard. It's been really hard. And it doesn't look like a thing on the outside that I really want to be a part of. Like you volunteered for this? You know what I mean? Right. And so there's still a desire, which makes me feel like I'm an insane person, right? I'm watching all of the hardships and everything, and I'm like, I still want to try though. Which that doesn't make any sense. But I would wonder if the church could come alongside the married couples and said, let's heal your marriages so that our single folks see what a good representation of a relationship could actually be. Because the generation that I grew up in, and most of my friends, I would say 95% of my friends, their parents all divorced. They all split. And so there are going to be repercussions for that. There are repercussions for me, for sure. So I would wonder, and I know that kind of is counterintuitive because it's like, well, I just pushed it back off of the single people. No. But if we had good, healthy relationships that we could look at, that maybe those relationships or marriages could come alongside singles, and not in a way that says, hey, let's help you find a mate. Right, out here you go, out into the world.
In 6
but
weeks.
Right. But like, how do we set up a way to kind of care for not only the single people, but our married people that are really having a hard time? Because I think a lot of married people just go like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're not married yet." You know what I mean? You kind of
Yeah.
get that vibe,
Totally.
and you're like, "Well, it's not all bad.
Right.
Like, you guys have to go get home now because you have the kids.
Yeah.
Like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can spend my money on all kinds of stuff. I can go to where, like, there's a lot of things that I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
I do want to worry about them at some point. I hope that I get to have kids, but there's this idea that you're just not whole,
Yep.
and we should feel bad for you.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Do you have something? I want to follow up to that. If
I mean, you can follow up first.
yeah,
Sure.
I'm so intrigued by that because again, I think one of the challenges as most churches think about this is exactly that. Well, we get caught in, all right, well, we need to have a marriage care program, maybe something like what you're talking about. But then doesn't that automatically exclude, single folk
Totally, yeah.
by saying that,
Yeah.
hey, look, we're putting time and energy into that. It's really interesting to me that you're saying that there might be value in that, depending on how that's.
I mean, I don't know. That's just my personal experience,
Yeah.
but I have a hard time finding one relationship, marriage relationship that I know intimately that I'm like, that's it. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to see that. And I'm not saying that just because we don't visually see that or have that in our lives, it can't happen. But I think the generation, that I'm growing up in,
Yeah.
we saw all of our parents blow their marriages.
Yeah.
And it's like, geez, like, I don't want to have to deal and go through that.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. To the other half of that, like you said, I mean, some people don't even want to get married. So that is tuning to like maybe people like you and I who probably want to get married someday, not anytime soon, please. No. But
I could do it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Maybe a little sooner.
no, not me. Anyways, but yeah, tuning to just, I don't know, have like preaching to the people who like to make them stronger just as people in general rather than as a pairing, and teaching us all how to be like Jesus in a way that we're being able to stand up for ourselves and stand up for what we believe in, and just like focusing on becoming our best person before we're getting paired up with another person, because how are we gonna ever make a marriage work if we're coming into it not being our best and we're trying to work with both of our, I don't know, pain and whatever.
I think that's so good.
I love that. Like the baggage that you bring in to a relationship. Obviously, there will always be baggage.
Yeah.
We all have our stuff, but like I said earlier, like me at 22 or 25, thinking about getting married, and I was close. I was really close.
Really?
I was shopping for rings, man.
Yeah. Wow.
And and thinking about being married to that person, and who I am now, like I like myself. I love myself so much more now than I did then. And I would, if there's single people that are listening, I would just say, like, if you could learn to love yourself, like all parts of you, not just like, yeah, I'm great, but like, yeah, I don't do this well, but I do this well.
Yeah.
And having that kind of knowledge about yourself and the shadow that you're working with, like knowing that going into relationship, holy cow. I wish my parents had that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish my parents had that.
Totally. And I mean, just the past like year or two of my life, the amount I've changed is like really insane.
Yeah.
So just if we're working towards becoming our best selves at the root of it, and hopefully, and you're going to attract your best partner when you are your best self, right? So why don't we put the focus on that, and then it'll come more naturally to find the right person.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, so much good there. Goodness gracious. One, just to affirm you, what people keep saying to you over these last, several months is absolutely true. You moved states by yourself to take a job in COVID, I mean, that's bonkers nuts. And the fact that you did do that and did do that by yourself is incredible. And yeah, the growth that means for you is really, really cool. I think you're totally right. The fact that you have now done that and would bring that into some type of future relationship, whenever, whoever that might be with, like that. Yeah, that's an incredible thing. That's really, really cool.
Well, thank you.
No, honestly, yeah, and same from your standpoint. Again, the whole planting the church and that whole process that you did. I mean, it's those types of things that you did. That I think you're right. They make you much more of the person that you are, and challenge you to be more self-aware and understand who you are. That's cool stuff. And then in terms of that, man, the church to find a way to support that, to lift that up, to honor that. I suppose that's the challenge, right?
Yeah, maybe the idea is, instead of starting a singles group where you're putting this pressure, because it's like you're stating what you believe is the problem in the name, right? You are alone.
Yeah,
come to this group. You're like,
You need help.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. But if you had like hey, let's learn about you. Let's learn about us. You want to learn more about you so you can become a better version of you? Heck yeah. I totally want to do that.
Yeah.
But, keep reminding us that we're still not like you.
Yeah.
The married crew. That's not like super fun.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Total side note, but I can say I think there's only been one ministry group I ever started where we were so excited when people left it, and it was the cancer support group, and that was the best one when people got their clean bill of health, and they were like, I can't be in the group anymore, and everyone's like, yeah.
Yes. I know. And that's the hard part, is like if you're at the singles group and then you find you find somebody, and then you're like, all right, peace out, guys. And then like a month later you guys break up. You're like, well, guess I'm back. That sucks too.
Not quite the same feel to that. No. That's good. I love that. I love what you guys are talking about, and yeah, from a messaging standpoint, thinking about that as a communicator, as someone that shares a message on Sunday, to think of that full audience. Is this about preaching to someone that is completely codependent on a partner, or is this preaching to someone and challenging them in their personal relationship with Christ, and how that is so much more important.
I think also you can speak to relationships in general instead of just partnered up relationships, like friendships and all of that stuff, because you're always going to have very important people in your life no matter what, so you can speak to that too.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Wow, well, this was again super insightful. I really enjoyed this. Thanks so much. Was there anything that maybe we didn't get to that y'all thought I'd love for all those married people out there to hear one more thing, or all those single people out there to hear one more thing? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want to talk to the married people. I'll talk to the single people. Well, first, I'll say one thing to the married people. Married people, us single people are fine.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, right.
Are you?
Please don't set us up with anybody.
Oh, gosh.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know that this might be awkward, but I just know this great girl, and you're like, I'm just going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Thank you for thinking of me, but no thanks. It's just the worst. It's just the worst. But I know the heart is good and pure and kind. I know
hope so. Yeah. I hope that's where it's coming from.
But I don't know anyone where that has worked out at all.
Because it is too awkward.
It is. Awesome. But to the single people out there that are listening or watching, don't waste the time if you are wanting to be in relationship. Don't waste the time hoping and thinking about that time. Be here now. Yeah. Don't be present somewhere else in the future. Yeah. Because then you miss what's happening now. You can miss relationships, and I'm not saying dating relationships. You can miss really good friendships. Yeah. And you can miss things that are opportunities. I get to like explore any dream that I want right now because I don't have anything else holding me back. And so it's not all bad. And I know the desire, if your desire in your heart is the same as mine, I know what that feels like. And there are hard days. I know it. But like, don't be so hung up on if then or when that happens that you miss right now, because I think I said this on Sunday. God didn't say he was or he's going to be or he is, but he said, I am. He's right now. Yep. And so don't miss that. Don't spend too much time, because I know I've spent plenty of time. So just be here.
Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you. Very good. We good? All right. Awesome. Fantastic. Wow. Thank you both so much for doing this. Even though, again, you kind of had to, but you didn't, right?
Wait, I had a choice?
You did. You
Holy
absolutely
cow.
both had a choice.
Didn't realize that.
And thank you for choosing to do that. And we'll have you back sometime.
All right.
Yes.
We'll do that. Wonderful. Thank you for watching. We were having just a great time with this. Really interested in our conversation that we're going to have next week. It's going to be a pretty cool dive into some Jesus stuff, what he knew and when he knew it. So stick around for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, we'll just keep doing this with all of you as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Brandon.
My pleasure.
And,
Thank you.
We'll see you back here next week. All right. Bye-bye.